The Legions of Athena. Chapter 6. Maximus awoke in a place where he had been once before, the familiar sterile smell of the infirmary, the same one they had been brought to when they first entered Athens. He woke up on one of its many beds and tried to sit up. Even as he did so, he was hurting all over his body, but he managed to sit up. Well, I guess they didn't kill me then, he thought to himself. He saw that he wasn't alone in the room either. Mia was fast asleep on a chair next to his bed. There was someone else also on one of the other beds in the corner. It was a man in his late 30s with brown hair and a goatee. He was definitely in a bad shape. Half his body, including his right leg and arm, were in a cast, while most of his upper torso was swathed in bandages. His head was covered in bandages as well. He looked at Maximus as he sat up and their eyes met, but the wounded man did not say anything. He continued looking at the ceiling, ignoring Maximus. "Look who's finally up," Mia said. Maximus turned to look at her. "Oh hey," he said. "How long was I out?" "Over 10 hours, I'd say," she replied. "We've been taking turns at your bedside. Sorry about that," he said, "but I was sort of ambushed." "Don't be sorry, you idiot. That's what friends are for. We heard about the ambush, or at least one version of it," she began. "The story was that you walked into the Tyros training area and challenged a few of them to a fight." Maximus was outraged by what he'd just heard. "What? That is not what happened. Who the hell told you that?" he demanded indignantly. "That girl, Elisha. Rex filled me in on what happened at the banquet. We figured that it was a lie. Rex wanted to go beat the real story out of her, but we managed to cool him down." "So what really happened?" Maximus filled her in on the real story. At the end of it, Mia remarked, "So you were outnumbered 20-1 and you decided to pick a fight. You really aren't that smart, are you?" He scowled at her, muttering, "It seemed like the right thing to do. I hope it was worth it. Anyway, I better go inform the others. I promised them I'd tell them when you woke up," said Mia as left the infirmary. Maximus examined himself to see if anything was broken. Luckily, nothing was cracked. But his muscles ached in a million places. He wanted to stay awake till the others came, but he simply couldn't keep his eyes open. He realized he had probably been administered sedatives in the course of treatment. Before long, he fell asleep again. "Hello, Maximus," greeted a voice in the darkness. Maximus opened his eyes to see darkness all around him. He was dreaming and he knew it, but he wasn't worried. It was time for another chat with the voice from his sword. "Hey, voice guy, haven't heard from you in a while. Still haunting my dreams, I see," observed Maximus. "I realize I'd been silent for a while. I thought it best, seeing as I was detected the last time," the voice admitted. "You mean by Hermes?" said Maximus. "Yes, as I had confided to you, I wish to remain unseen by the world for now. The Olympian gods are the last beings I wish to inform of my survival," the voice said. "You're a shady guy, you know. I hope you're not some sort of evil monster I'm helping break out from your sword prison," Maximus said. "I promise you I'm not evil." "As for monster, no, I'm something much worse," the voice replied. Somehow this did not put Max's mind at ease. "Do not worry, child. Only my enemies need to fear me. You, on the other hand, have my gratitude," the voice continued. "I'd rather prefer answers than gratitude, though," Maximus retorted. "What do you mean?" asked the voice. "The last time we spoke, you said something about my lineage. Care to elaborate on that?" said Max. "I was hoping you could tell me," the voice replied. Maximus was confused. "What? How should I know? I'm an orphan. I've always been an orphan. I have no idea about my parents or any other relative for that matter. So why would you think my lineage is special?" "Because you unsheathed my sword. It would require quite a degree of power to do so. Power which lay dormant within you. That is only possible if you have a unique lineage," the voice explained. "I thought you allowed me to unsheath the sword," Max asked. "True. You couldn't have done it without my permission, but your own power was equally essential," revealed the voice. Maximus was disappointed by what he had just heard. He was hoping for a bit more than just some vague, special lineage garbage. "So I assume this is not the topic you were hoping to discuss then?" Maximus asked finally. "Ah yes," the voice said. "I came to disclose something different." "Please don't say you want me to run into another volcano," he said. "No, nothing of the sort. But I have noticed that you are trying to awaken the sword's power at will," said the voice. "Not much luck, though." "Perhaps, but I would advise you to be more discreet. I can sense that you are angered by the Tyros, and I know how young ones like you would respond. But be careful," said the voice. "Power is a thing that is coveted in any millennia. And in a city such as this, it is easily noticed, and you will find that animosity is often a more effective weapon than a blade." Maximus was about to ask what he meant by that, but it continued by saying, "We have no more time, I'm afraid. Your friends are about to wake you." "How do you know that?" Max asked. "In fact, how are you even talking to me?" "I left the sword back in the room. The sword may be my prison, Maximus, but it is one I created myself for my own survival." please do not insult me by thinking that my powers are limited to its presence. Maximus wanted to ask more, but the darkness began to shift again. Soon he was looking at the fluorescent tube lights on the infirmary ceiling. He was awake again, and the voice had just left him with another pile of unanswered questions. Well, it's about time, Rex mumbled next to him. Hedger and Mia were with him as well. Maximus noticed that his face was wet with water. He knew that this was Hedger's handiwork. This was not the first time he had gotten this rude awakening. This was how Hedger used to wake him back in the trenches as well. Did you have to use water? Just shaking me awake would have been fine, he asked. Now where's the fun in that? Besides, think of it as punishment for falling asleep before we got here yesterday night, Hedger said with a grin. Maximus looked out the window to see that it was the next day. He couldn't believe he was asleep for so long. The chat with the voice only seemed to have lasted 10 minutes. The doctors already came and discharged you, by the way. We've been waiting around for an hour just for you to wake up, Mia said. So Max, how you feeling? Rex asked. Maximus got out of his bed and checked himself. Everything seemed to be okay, and nothing was hurting anyway. Yeah, I'm good, he said. Good. Then let's go find that little Bulfa and introduce her to my metal fist, Rex said. Bulfa was a swear word from the ancient Minotaurian language. The language itself was almost extinct and was now only spoken in highly orthodox Minotaur tribes. Rex didn't speak much of it either, but he did somehow manage to learn all its swear words. I hope you idiots aren't seriously considering it, Hedger said as they started walking back to the tower. This isn't the trenches where the soldiers would just place bets at a street brawl. So what, we should just do nothing, Rex said. Well, we could poison her, Hedger said. All of them stopped and stared at him. I mean, with a strong laxative or something. Yeah, I think we better leave our revenge schemes for later. Achilles will be waiting for us in the tower, Mia said. Maximus had forgotten about that. He had completely stood him up in the garden. He had an excuse, being unconscious and all. But what Max really wondered was what the heck Achilles must have ended up doing sitting in the garden. He really didn't seem like the type to go around sniffing flowers. Maybe he ended up signing some autographs. No, that wouldn't be it either. Achilles was world famous, all right, but not the kind of fame where people recognized him by sight. Well, he had though when they first met, but that was different. He was sort of Max's idol growing up. Besides, everyone here except for Athena's inner circle thought he was dead like the rest of the world. Maximus thought for a while and finally concluded that he must have sat and meditated. He sure did do that a lot, and worse, made it a large part of his own training as well. Achilles was waiting for them in the dining area when the four of them entered. Are you hurt? Achilles asked, and Maximus shook his head in response. Good. I already heard what happened from the Tyros, Achilles said. And you don't seriously believe that, do you? Rex asked. No, I don't. And neither does Odysseus. But that is the story we're all going with. We have caused enough trouble, as it is, Achilles said. How the heck did we cause trouble? Hedger asked. Letting you stay here has been a very unpopular decision, and the entire burden of it rests on Odysseus. So the best thing we can do is keep our heads down, Achilles said. Odysseus really shouldn't go to all this trouble. It's not like any of us want to stay at the castle, Maximus said. Achilles sighed and said, I guess you're all too young to have given this much thought. But tell me if not here, then where? You can't stay anywhere beyond the wall because Ares is sure to have a few spies monitoring the area. As for staying somewhere in the city itself, how do you think the people will react if they found out that you are from Mars? And in Athens, it's not a question of if, but a question of when. Information travels fast here. The castle is the best bet in a bad situation. None of them had an answer to that. Achilles was right, they hadn't thought that far. But it still didn't make them any happier about it. So anyway, Maximus's Achilles continued. The others tell me that you have already made a decision. Perhaps it was a bit harsh of me to give you an ultimatum regarding the tournament. I will continue training you if you like, even though you won't be entering the tournament. I will inform Athena's people to find someone else. Maximus had totally forgotten about the tournament in the middle of all this. Wait, hold on, Maximus said. I had decided not to enter, but let's just say I had a change of heart. Rex laughed loudly at this, and Hedger said, So much for keeping your head down. This has been a chapter from Book 2 of the new World Odyssey Series, The Legions of Athena. Links to the books in the bio. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. See you in the next chapter.